よし。か。いや、もうちょっと考えてなんかやるゲーム、あれせよかったんだけどさ。よし、やるか。ええなんかクソゲーみたいなの見つけてきましたんで、もうこれ、ちょっとよくわかんないんだけど、やっていけばわかるか。じゃあ、本当は弁護士雇うから、あ、メモ帳です。なんか、この間ちょっとやったんですけど、全然頭こんがらってわかんなくないからメモ帳があった方がいい。なんか殺人事件があったらしくて、この、このババアなんか事情聴取みたいな動画がたくさんあるから、そうなんですよ。なんかこの映像を見て、調べて、繰り返して、その犯人を探すっていうゲームらしいんだけど、まあ、とりあえず、この動画を見ます。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly
もう
it's
今日やっ
murder.
たらこれちょっとやんないかもしれないけど。
What can I do to help?
とりあえず殺人事件がありましたよと。らしい。
Yeah, that's me. But February? I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
これサイモンとかなんかいろんな人出るんだ。メモんないとわかんないからさ。もう忘れちゃうから。できれば高評価を報告できるこれ。よっしゃ。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other,
これで話せってことみんな、
just that.
ただの作り話だ。
Stories.
で、とりあえず殺人事件がありましたよと。で、いろんなワードが出てくるから、これを、サイモンができたからサイモンを調べます。そうすると、サイモンに関する情報が入った動画が出てきて、でそこからまた調べますよ。ちょーってやったんだよ。
Simon. Simon Smith.
サイモン・ス
He
ミスなん
works
だ
at
よ。
Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature
もう
windows,
わからんわ。
artistic things. Really beautiful
あー、
things.
ガラス屋。ガラス屋らしい。ガラス屋。ガラス屋。ガラス屋。はい。ガラス野郎。
It's the Rockington Arms. The Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan.
もう
There's
わか
someone
ら
on
ん
the
わ。
regulars
いっ
there
ぱ
that
い出て
Simon
くる。
likes to drink with. And the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
なんかまた他二人出てきたけど誰これ。他二人が
It's the Rockington Arms.
ピー
The
ターと
Rock.
スーザン。はい。
It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan.
一応登場
There's
人
some
物
other
全員メモっ
regulars
てた
there
よ
that
ね。
Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen.
ヘレン。
Peter said Simon had been in and had a
Helen.
few drinks.
うーす。誰が見てるか分かればいいね。なんかもっとまともなゲームにしてやがった。
There's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games.
サイモン時々ゲームやっとる。
And, Save the Princess. That kind of thing.
サイモン多分マリオやってんだよ。サイモン時々マリオやってる。サイモン時々マリオ。
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy.
サイモンがいなくなったんだよね。
Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
サイモンがいなくなったと。
Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
サイモンの誰なんだろう。どこ行くの。どうするか。とりあえずピーターしより。ザ・ロックでもいいな。ガラスの会社。ガラス出てくんだ。
No, he doesn't have any tattoos.
タトゥー入れてません。
He has a scar
タトゥーなし。
down here near his stomach, past his hip.
どういうこと。
Cut himself with some glass.
どういう切り
That
方
was
をした
before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here.
前
though.
からチンコと
He
そのま
takes
ま
them
ケツ
off
ま
with
で
the camera.
切った。
But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
全然見てなかった。なんつってた。タトゥーがないんだと。タトゥー。どうやって打つんだ。トゥってよく考えたでしょ。タトゥーなしってかかった。
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaziers.
え
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaziers.
ガラス屋で働いてしガラス屋であったんだ。ガラス屋。ガラス屋であった。ガラス。本当は逆転裁判さっき買おうと思ったんだけどさ。どんどん減ってくよ。ガラス屋で。
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity.
ガラス屋の社員
Mum and Dad, they had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
ホームレスだったんだね。ホームレス。 か書くことばっか。
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children.
彼の
Simon
容姿
was
最後の
quiet,
静かで他の
more
友達たち
thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that
両
look.
親が知り合いと。
He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
両親が知り合いと。知り合い。どうすっか。ザ・ロック調べるか。ザ・ロック、ドウェイン・ジョンソン。
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On
口喧
Saturday,
嘩し
he
たの。
didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help
That's
Eric
it.
out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone.
エリ
I
ックの
checked
手
at the
伝いを
Rock,
して。
that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
彼の両親のことに連絡ない。メモるのめんどくさくなってき
I
た。
don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. You've spoken to everyone there.
もうさ、こ
Someone
れ
must
さ
have、seen where he went.
行った方が早くね。
I don't know.
こんなんで調べてる。
So many things could have gone wrong.
まあ、調べるのめんどくさくなってきたよ、これ。すごいね。ホームレス。これ出てくるの？どうするか。他のやつで調べてみるか、他の人。ピーター。ピンポイント。ピーターじゃどうでもいいってこと、結局。ピーターあんま意味ないんじゃないこれ。さっきの動画しか出てこない。ピーターいいわ。あんまいらん。スーザンもいらん。なんのあれにもならんじゃん、これ。お前らあんま関係ないってことだよね。急に楽になった。ヘレン結構関係あんねやろ。
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said.
ああ、
He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
ヘレンブロンドの女なんだ。ブロンド女。ブロンド女。結局犯人誰なんだよこれ。俺ね、そこのババアがそのまま犯人だと思うんだけどさ。エリックしゃべるか、エリック。結局このババアじゃないの。
He was wearing a shirt, with a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric.
彼ってサイモン
He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not
ダッ
his house.
フルコート。エリック、腕時計エリックからもらったやつ。そいつらの顔が見てよ。あ、
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it.
ヤバリエに乗って
Both of
る。
them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I
ヤ
get
バ
back.
リエ。 キャバリー。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
エリック怪しくねえか。辛っ。なにこれ。辛い。俺には正直誰が犯人かわからん。
Eric was like an uncle to him.
理
They were
解。
pretty close. They spent a lot of time with each
大
other.
体理解者とかいうや
Especially
つ
when they have to go to
悪いやつ
conferences.
だからな。
Have you met his wife, Diane?
結局理解者とか言ってて、なんか実は頭きてやっちゃったみたいなやつでしょ。ヘレン調べよう。何じゃあ。腕時計。ちょっと待って。なんか急に何も出てこなかったよ。ガラス屋の会社何だったんだ。しっかりメモした方がいいんだよ。どっか言ってなかった。
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time with the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for
あ、ごめん。
us.
確かあれだわ。二つ入れやった気がする。お、なんかかっ
Hannah
こ
had a
ちいい。
miscarriage.
花。
This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile.
急に重いな。
Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again.
どういうこと？
But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married.
花これ。
Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Eric had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then
いや、いい修学でしょ、これ。ちょっと。
My name is Hannah. Hannah.
はい。
It's a palindrome. It reads the same backwards as
どうでもいいよ。はい。
forwards. It doesn't work from Eric though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea.
何の時間？
Sorry.
うん、早く
Hannah
食べる。
Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
花スミス。もう絶対あれじゃん。兄弟や。なんか間違ってないって言ってたよ
It doesn't work from symmetrical, but sorry.
な。
Hannah Smith. I live at
ここまでの時間無駄。グラッドストーンストリート。グラッドストーンストリート。グラッド、何言ってんの？グラッドストーン、ストーン、町、町、町、町、町、町、町。グラッドストーン街。グラッドストーン街、なんか泣いてるぞ。これ日付書いてあんじゃん。日付見た方がいいわ。
What are you doing talking about Eve?
どういうこと？イブって誰？え？タイム絶対死んだよ。サイモン死んだろ。 サイモンが死んだんだな、これ多分。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh,
嘘発見
shit.
器やられてる。
Sorry.
え
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh,
急になんか、
sorry.
お前ハナ・スミスって自分で言っとるやん。これ、なんか保存もできんで多分。そう。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been
わかりま
throttled
し
by
た。
the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah.
大体わか、
I was born at the
双
same
子なんだ。
time. The midwife was there
双
to
子
help.
で、
I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't.
この人誰なの？
She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
このババア。
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
え、怖い怖い怖い怖い怖い怖い。え、怖い怖い怖い怖い怖い。なんだ今の。これ見て、見た。お前バカ怖いんだけど。ホラーゲームなのこれ。ちょ、待って、マジで怖いんだけど。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time.
怖い怖い
The
怖い。
midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the
ババア
cord,
の幽霊出てきたよな
probably
今。
wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
どういうことこれ。
Dead.
13子私を
I
死ん
was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
こいつやん絶対。バカ怖いマジで。ダメだこれ。なんこれ。この動画見ちゃいけんわ。これ怖い怖い。怖いっていられんこれ。ずっと怖いやんこれねこれ。怖っ。マジ。これは怖そうだよ。
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse.
怖い
She
怖い。
hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
何そんな前から人恨んでる。危ねえ危ねえ。怖いのじゃなかったよかった。フローレンスタガっていう助産師がいるって言ったな。怖っ。話が早いな。怖いな、もうこの服着てる時のこのババア怖えよ。なんであれ
Florence
だ
took me
け
home with her.
お化け出てくる
Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby.
の？ああ、そういうこ
I
と？
guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
わかっ。え？怖っ。ちょっと待って。くっそ怖いやん。てかさ、こんなに早く終わんのこのゲーム。もう大体犯人分かってきたやん。このババアの双子か、こいつ、やっぱこのババアだったんでしょ。
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window, and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror.
やっぱそうなんだね。
She was me.
ザタッチみたいな感じでしょ。怖い怖い、マジで怖い。くっそ怖い、急に怖いよ。マジで怖いんだけど。こんなんさ、普通に捕まれよ。なんで怖がらせんだよ、これ。マジで怖いよ、もうこれも絶対、だんだんあれでしょ。だんだん、浮き出てくんじゃないの。マジで怖えわ。
Florence was a warm, kind person.
なんか順を追わずにフローレンスしちゃったから、なんか飛んでクリアまで行っ
When
ちゃ
I
った。
found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers,
怖マジで。
letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for
話
life.
入ってこねえよ。
She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different
わ
then.
からんも
You know, you married for life and she felt she could
う。
never
内
marry
容がよくわ
again.
からん。ただ単
I
に
guess it
怖
was
い。
harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
あー、怖い。あぶねえ。これはないわ。とりあえず、この2つはマジで危ね
No, it was just me and her. It was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back.
え。彼らが誰かわからん。
Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl.
何それ。
It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
あー、危ない。危ない。わからん。次何しよういいのこれ。もう一回見るか。もう一回これとこれ、一回つ見てよ。マジで怖えから。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence.
助産師な。
When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time.
ザタッチ。
The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
誰の日記なんだ。
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
えあれ出てこなかった。ちょっと待って待って、こっちも出てこないの。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
あれ出てこないじゃん。なんだ急に。どうするか。助産師じゃ出てこない。なんかクリアが見えたと思ったんだけどな。そんな甘っちょくねえのか。 イブだわ。イブ。イブ行こう。イブ、イブ、イブ、よし。はいはいはい、来ました。はい。これ、これ、
My mother called me Eve.
あー、怖い。お前がイブなんだ。わからん。でもお前、ハナ・スミスって言ってたよ、さっき。あ、時間的なあれだわ。これ時間。11時28分。嘘ついてんじゃないの？まあいいや。
Well, my friend Eve.
お前自分がイブって言ってたよ、
Well,
さっ
she
き。
was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was
全
also
然
more
違うよ。
popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
どういう子？もうあれがある気がするな。パーッつってくれた。
Yes, we'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it out. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her.
何を言ってんの？お前
and
自分
watch
がイ
her
ブって言ってた
drown.
よ。
But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate relationship.
そんなもんですことは。7月3日。ああ、だからこの時は嘘ついてたってこと。
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend
イブ
Eve.
さよ、かわいそうだ
My parents let me off.
な。こいつがイブなんでしょ。いや、何調べるって言える。グラッドストーン以外調べてないのか。キャバリエ、キャバリエ、キャバリエ、ブラックキャバリエ。あ、服とかそんなあんま関係ねえな。ちょっとマジ。
Florence took me home with her. Take away Asian.
なんだったんだろう一体。順番に見るってこと？
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, but I wasn't. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
マジで怖えな。
Florence raised me in her home.
いや、ほんとチカチカすんの声マジで。
No, it was just me and her girl. I'm going to try when he came back. First was a child last week.
わからんな。怖いのに持ってかれたよ。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
二重人格もしかして。その可能性ない。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The
ここから
midwife
進まねえよ。
told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a
ちょっ
diary.
と終わりな、これ。
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
あ、出た、さっきと同じ音楽だ。この音楽よ。近づいてるってことよ。
Florence was a warm tin with a kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I was a
フローレンスはやべえやつなんだ。
her story was to her about her. Once I had a husband, once I was married for life. Widow from her 20s. I guess it was different then. She could never marry.
ちょっと急にわからんくなったな。え？なんかできんだけど。え？関係あんのかなこれ。わからん。わからんわ。どうしよう。ハナ・スミス。イブ・スミス。点入れた方がいいかな。ああ、来ないか。来ないか。あ、何？履歴あんだ。花で19件あるぞ。超えちゃうからないってこと？フローレンス。あれじゃんな、これで組み合わせりゃいいってことやな。花。フローレンス語、花を喋って、花とエリックで喋りゃいいってことね。可能性あるな。あ、新しい。
The legal stuff was completed very quickly.
何？
Hannah moved back in with Simon.
花とサイ
Eric gave Simon the week off to help with the move. He decorated, modernized wallpaper curtains. Hannah insists the attic be left as it was, dollhouse and all. Simon never went up there.
マジ怖い。音楽戻ったけど何？サインもいろいろありすぎだろ。わかりました。サイモンと花で。来たわ。マジこの日のやつ覚悟した方がいい。この格好してたけど。 長えな、短いやつ。
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes.
何してんのお
I
前
thought we
ら。
had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss
ド
me.
ッキリやん。
But that was it. We didn't want another card on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back.
カールって誰だ？
After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him.
いい
Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
何やったよこの双子は。
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of
棒
excuses.
姉妹ってことか。やばいな。
After a while, we decided that
姉妹
I
で
should
棒
take
姉妹っ
Hannah's
てこと。
virginity.
やばいな。
It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the
どう
boys
いうこと何をおっしゃるの
until Simon.
やばいだろ、こいつら。お前らやばいって。
The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant,
何をしてんの
but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers.
どういうこ
Drunk
と
guys I'd met in clubs, parks.
どういうこと
highways.
何をしたいのお前は。
I was 17.
何してんの
It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us.
わからんわ。
I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. Found it hard to look sometimes.
どういうこと
We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people?
別々の人間だから
And that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it.
そうした方がいいだろ
We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
ああ怖いマジで怖い油断してたわマジで怖いさん怖いさんこれ見ちゃならないです見ちゃダメなやつだマジで怖いこれあれだなこれ多分順番に見ろってことじゃないマジで怖えよ 怖っ。マジで怖えよ。どうすっか。サイモン花でまだ9件あるってことはまだあるってこと。何が絡んでくんだろう、これ。イブだな、イブだろ、イブ。違えのか。なんだ。エリック単体で喋ってなくね。エリックあるやん。エリック結構引っかかるやん。サイモンとエリックでいけるだろ。来たわ。なんかめっちゃ新しいのある。
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, it must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
あー、怖い。マジで鳥肌立ったんだけど。つまり、こいつ、二人でやったとかじゃないよ。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. But he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
新しいやつここに来て出てくる。ダグとエレノアって誰だよ。
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX. And I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel? Okay. I parked parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house, I knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in, Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly into the living room, nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom, he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
怖いな。サイモン・エリックへ。サイモン・エリック発見。ダグと家の調べて。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my
マ
parents
ジでもう
died
わからん。
in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. The forensic entomologist. I had to look that up.
多い昆虫
It was
学
because of the heat. It's just awful.
音楽変わんねやめてくんねえかなマジで。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them.
怖い怖い怖いマジで。ちなみにこれ見てないからね。
Yeah, that's Simon's watch.
怖いの出てくるか
It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift.
どういう基準で怖いの出てくる
It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste.
のダイヤ。
That time. You must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
ないな。さっき怖いの出てきたんだけ
I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us, there's always been pressure.
焦った。個人の上のそう。なんだあの時間さ。
I hoover, I dust every week, maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, you know, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack.
なんか途中いらないなマジで。
Of marriage.
飛ばして最後まで行っちゃった
And
みた
she
いな。
still has a secret like that.
わからんわ。あ、で、私の出た。
Yes. I speak with Eleanor at least once a day.
誰？
Not that there's anything much to say. This move just...
ああ、怖い怖い怖い。エレノアダグ。エレノアダグ。あ、来た。あ、これ。あ、これこぼしたって。
This is the third day running you've called me in. I speak to Doug and Eleanor every day. And they say you've been asking a lot of questions. About me.
読めない。
Should I be worried? Am I a suspect?
ああ、焦った。やっぱお前だよな。絶対お前だよな。絶対こいつなんだよ。花。おい、引っかんでみてくんねえ。どうすっか。次何しちゃうかな。花。サイモンがいっぱいあるんだよな。サイモン。サイモン。サイモン、花で調べた。サイモン。サイモン、イブ、エリック。サイモン、イブ、エリック、絞り。出てこねえか。わからんねえ。なんかもうめんどくさくなってきちゃったしさ。わからんわ、もう。沼にはまったわじゃん。もうわからんもん。花すみさん、もうわからんな、マジで。イブ、ハナ、エリック2件、サイモン、エリック。これ怖いやつか。怖いやつもう一回見るか。
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from... It was a wedding anniversary.
ダイアン調べてね。ダイアンだ。ダイアン調べてねえわ。はい、来ました。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there. Simon and Eric arguing?
なんでお前ギター持ってきてんだよ。
They get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
こんだけダイアン関連もしかしてそんなないってこと？5件ぴったりだわ。ねえわ。でもここになんかあんじゃないの？隠されてんだよね、多分。
Simon and Eric.
完璧主義者としてはない。いや、なんだろ、マジで。
Diane is really...
ダイアンのこと思ってない。
Eric was like an uncle to him. Diane.
エリックの奥さんダイアンです。エリックの嫁ダイアンです。嫁ダイアン。一応 エリックの嫁がダイアンだ。そりゃエリックの会社手伝うわ。エリック、まだいっぱいあるはずなんだよな、多分。だよな。いや、こういうとしっかり細
Yes,
かい
there's
の
a
ではいいんだよ。
zone by if you want to get that.
人と人との組み合わせもいいのかな。
So
ザ・ロック、ザ・ロック調べたっけか。ザ・ロック3件見てんのだ、俺。サイモンね。サイモンなんだよ、やっぱ。サイモンと何を合わせるか。いや、結局あれでしょ。サイモン花を絞っていきたいんだよな。勇気だし、しか見るか。
the parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, no way I could was like the right
なんて調べばいい？わからんわ。サイモン。屋根裏って調べて出てくるのかな。出てくんじゃん。
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they? We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
髪の毛落ちてたってこと？
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back.
なんか
Me and Simon
パカパカすんなよ。
felt like going back to old
Bueno.
days before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things.
なんかチカチカすんじゃんよ。
We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
怖い。マジ怖い。もう
Yes.
そろそろ怖いの
I
来
read
そう
a
だよ
lot
な。
as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories.
ちょっとマジで止まんないやめてくんねえかな。怖いな。
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from.
どういうこ
I
と？
don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale.
屋根裏っていう
Little
単語が怖い。
furniture. The lights work. Mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
アラビアの屋根裏11機あるわ。これ来たっしょ。はい。はい、来ました。
It lasted about 6 months.
何がだよ。
I tried to carry on, but
何がだよ。
everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him.
いや、
We didn't share
ばっ
him
かり
like
言っ
the
てんな、こい
others.
つ。
The rules
Yeah.
had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird
サイ
in
モ
a
ン
way I
モテ
hadn't
すぎ
been
だろ。
before.
サイモン、屋根裏サイモン、屋根裏花、全部いけそうだよ。屋根裏いいわ。泣いてね。
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready.
怖すぎだろ、それ。
Mum was amazed.
屋根裏で仮暮らしのアリエッティしてた。怖え、マジで。屋根裏、屋根裏エリック。屋根裏にエリックがいました。なんでか。屋根裏イブ。これ出るでしょ。出ねえんだ。屋根裏絞りたいんだけどな。屋根裏花でちょうど動けんの。なんだ。屋根裏全部できねえのかな。屋根裏サイモン。さっき調べたっけか。調べた。屋根裏ラプンツェル。屋根裏ラプンツェル。いやー、なんだろう。屋根裏花。屋根裏サイモン。なんか新しい話。
It lasted about. Hadn't been before.
わからんくなった、また。わからんねー。どうしよう。わからんな。やばい、眠くなってきた。でも明日になったら覚えてねえからな。ガラスの会社、なんだっけか。
No, he doesn't.
これ謎だよな、ほんと。
Down here, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar
そういうことか。
down
帝
here
王
near
切
his
開したんだ。
stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass.
帝王切開だろ。お前、帝王切開したんだ。アーンストブラザーズ。これ絶対調べた方がいいわ。アーンスト。 あれ隠れダメですか。アーンスト。アーンスト。出てこねえじゃねえか。何の意味もない。あ、なにこれ。あ、綺麗になった、急に。綺麗になっいや、待って待って。綺麗になった方が逆に怖いかもね。え、そんな方法ある？検索ワード入れないで調べる。
A black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is.
何個くらい動画見たんだろうね。
A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the glaziers, but it's only for work.
わからんね。
I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
全然わからん、も
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven, goes ginger. Instead of spring photo.
う。あ、
This
写
was
真。
taken last year on holiday on loan.
ローマ。ダークブロンド。ダークブロンド。知ってるよね。ローマ。出てこねえか。いや、マジでもうわからんな。ねみーし。どうしよう。いやー、なんか。わからんね。なんか怖いやつも、なんか、なくなっちゃったし。
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
ほらほら、なんでこれ見ると怖いあれになるの？
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
日記って
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
いいな、怖いやつ見たくないな。日記。出てきた、新しいの。怖え。
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. Helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page.
これ怖いよ。
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the
こ
street.
の映像の後絶対怖いの来る。ほら、あ怖え。マジで怖え。なんなんあれマジで。この演出いらねえだろ、ほんと。くそ怖えな。日記6だわ。あと1件なんかあんだな。怖っ。 ジで怖えよ。ちょっと待って。日記6件、あと1件は見たいな。この音楽マジでやめてくれ、ほんと。お金な。マジなんなんだろう。なんだ屋根裏 ?6 件中あと1件見たいよ。取りこぼしすると大変になりそうだ。おっかねえな、マジで。おっかねえやつ保存してもよかったな。いいか。いやまたこれだよな。
And families who live there. There.
人形。はい、一番怖いワードです。はい、調べます。でもね、待って。多いんじゃねえの。5件か。いやー、怖いなマジで怖えよ。日記。日記。
I've been throttled.
待て。びっくりしたわ。日記管理全部怖い。
Florence was all the papers.
手紙。どうすか。いやこれさ、これめっちゃ出てくるんじゃない？そうだ。そんな気したわ。
I was 15.
タトゥー入れとるやん。
Older. 17, I think.
カール調べてねえわ。
I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. Stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months.
私たち。
It was sad. But those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
普通に双子なのか二重人格なのどっちなんだろう。怖い、音楽変わるな。
I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys.
マジで怖い、音楽が。
You're reaching here. And I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead.
死んだんじゃん、やっぱサイモンね。
But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
どす黒い話やな。浮気。浮気いっぱい出てきました。はい。
She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But It's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother.
話が難解すぎる。音楽変わるな。
An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair.
音楽が鳴らない。怖い。逆に怖い。
No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon.
マジで怖えな。
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
ねえ、なんでスローモーションなんだよ。なんだろう。なんだ、なんか調べ物
No, cheated on Simon.
サイモンが浮気。サイモン浮気。浮気7件かでも。ほい、来た。これでかい。
What did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
やっぱ疑われてんだ。そりゃそうだ。だから、警察署にいんだよ。おー、めっちゃ出てきた。10件もあるもんな。
I got in the car.
で、絶対1回は来る。マジで。覚悟した方がいいよ。
I just kept driving north. Just kept going. Just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
何時間とか、どの時あれかな。
I got to Glasgow. I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
一瞬なんか怖いんだよ
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
な。なんか変なのになったさ。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
私はグラスゴーに行きましたと。でも絶対双子の、あれでしょ。片方行って片方が行ってないから。っていうあれでしょ。日付的にどうなのこれ。7月3日で。やっぱそうでしょ。実は双子なのよつって言って。もう警察の捕まるギリギリでしょ。グラスゴーサイモン。あー怖い。マジで怖い。この日の動画は本当に怖いよ。はい。
It's like I told you
絶
before.
対来るわ。
I drove. I took the
絶
car
対来る。
and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
ない。ないんか。グラスゴー攻めしたい。ないか。イブが案外ないんだっけか。イブもしかしてイブで調べてないの？イブ・スミスで OK なんだよな。グラスゴーイブでしょ。ないか。事故。ありました。怖いね。この日は怖いよ。
Beautiful people died. We always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought.
怖えな、こいつ。おっかねえこと言ってる
That
ぞ。
people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries
怖い怖い
immediately
怖い怖い怖い。何言っ
and
ても
compare them.
ノート。ケリーって出てきた。ケリーはあんま関係ないと思う。ノート。なあ。あんまワー
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign.
なんだろう。あ、いっぱいできた。怖い怖い怖い怖い。
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the
夢
pretty,
中
pretty
の無で引っ
ones,
かかっ
but
てんのか。
the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The
何怖い怖い
princess
怖い。
flicks her finger.
なあ怖いこと言うね。ほんと怖えな。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
離婚したんだ。夢7件か。なんだあとは。なんか言ってたっけか。なんか言ってたっけか。
And compare them.
違う。ああ、怖い音楽流れてる。
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
何個ぐらい動画見たの？
Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
ああ、また音楽で、なんなんこの音
I
楽、
got
ピアノ。
Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
サイモンとアンナでしょ。
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
流産。妊娠、サイモン。ああ、怖い時だ。
Can you imagine?
できる。
I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused.
なんでそういうことすんの？
I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? Felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
ああ、おい、怖え。だんだん濃くなってね。くっそ怖いんだけど。
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing, right? This fucking magic spell.
なんだ魔法の精子って。
And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile. Both of us. I didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was.
あー、怖い。もう捕まるやん。いやー、ちょっと。なあ、怖っ。 もうちょいで捕まるんでしょう。もうポリが来てたよ。あー、怖いね。なんで喋りゃいいの？流産でいけないかな。ね、あんまこの時のやつは意味ねえと思う。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents.
流産してから、魔法の精子で、怖連チャンだ。
Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in
どうい
their
うこ
bed.
と？
And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage.
サイモン死んでたの、そうやって。
The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that, it was just like, fuck. Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after miscarriage because of complications.
おー、濃いな、おい。濃かったぞ、今。濃え。くっそ濃えよ。やばい、一人でやんの怖えよ、マジで。妊娠だと思うんだよな。なんだ。妊娠花。
Both of us. Regular.
マジで。出んだ、それ。
Yeah. When I was at school, I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family. Dad used to work there, my mom, like a till or anything.
これはなんかどうでも違うのよ。ということでなくてですね。ありました。
If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull our harness to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me. And she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snuck a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies was synchronized anyway. We started our period on the same day. Childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
なんだろうね。なんだ。眠くなってきちゃったな。ベッドでしょ。ベッド。 レッドサイモンでしょ。違うか。この辺もしっかり見ていくか。
I sleep on the right side of the bed as you come in from the door. You can tell because I have 2 pillows and he just has 1.
隣で死んでたんだ。
That can't be right. In the bedroom. In the bedroom?
サイモンがね、全然すまねえんだよな。
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. It's the rocking canal, Peter and Susan, and the bar.
おい、スーザン調べたっけかな。
Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
スーザン調べた。スーザン。なあ、わからんくなっちゃったな。ねみーし。このセコ作戦どうよ。おお、飽きてんじゃん。
The whole thing was wrong.
何が
The bags, I
風呂
think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that.
風呂
We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't
地
need.
下室なんだ。
Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
怖えな、袋怖えな。
From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up, and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake. Children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. Turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
わからんね。サイモンプレゼント。赤ちゃんとか出るよ俺。はい、来ました。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place.
もう終わろっかな。
I went cold all over. I went down there with the torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and
ちょっと待って、しっかり聞いた方がいいと思う。
Parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with the torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags.
ああ、ゴミ袋、やっぱ下に入ってたんだ。
Pulled them open, saw the body.
2人ぐらい死んでね。
That's when I called the police.
2人ぐらい死んでねえか。
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday.
2人ぐらい死んでねえかな。地下室は絶対調べた方がいい。いや、なんかちょうどいい具合になんかいろいろ出てくる。
Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in, as good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So,
これマジで怖い。この日のやつは本当に。
it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it.
待って、お前。
The watch. Rather than have it alibi. And we wanted. They're gone.
やったのお前や。
We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck. 怖い。いや、もう近いんだよな、多分な。
ただ俺眠いんだわ。時計。袋。わからんな。わからんな。
It happened very quickly. We cleaned, had an eye. Wanted to have suspicion of us. Better.
したい。あ、なよ、なよ。
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body.
あれ、クソだな。自分で殺したくせになんか、あれでしょ。
Didn't look real.
すごいなんか真実知ったと見ると本当にクソだな。
It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses.
ああ
He doesn't always wear them.
メガネ。なんだこれ。
Really? Okay.
急に
What's
何
the rest? Oh, they laid a body on the dock tonight. Oh, the wind and the rain.
どういうことなの
Fiddler with a fiddle came walking
どう
by.
お前人殺したんだろうな、お前。舐めてるこいつ。
He made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair.
舐めてる。
Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the
あ、
fiddle
GG さんお久しぶりです。
Oh, the wind and the
めっちゃ前だな。
Yes, the only
どんなゲー
tune
ムやってんだっ
that
て。
the fiddle could play.
試しにやってます。
Oh, the dreadful wind and rain.
こいつ人殺しですから
Will
ね。
be used as evidence against you.
お前人殺しが何やってんだ。眠いな。寝るかな。寝るか。寝ますわ。もうちょいなんか配信向きのゲームやった方がいいの